finally get a break from winter's grasp as we go into next week. Not in the near future, though. Hey, everyone, it's Eric here with Weather for Weather Geeks Thursday evening. We'll have a brief break on Friday, but things are about to ramp up again in terms of snow and cold as we head into the weekend. This has been a very consistent pattern ever since around Thanksgiving. This is the last 31 days in our high temperatures, the departure from average officially at the Youngstown Warren Airport. And I think Thanksgiving was on the 28th this year, so right before Thanksgiving is when this colder pattern settled in, and it's been 2 weeks now of this, and we've got another 5, maybe 6 days before we start to see a pattern change. All right, officially at the airport, about a half an inch worth of snow out of these lake effect and lake enhanced snow showers and flurries today. That brings our total for the month up to 7.5, and for the season, 13.9. That is 4.2 inches above the average for the season thus far. All right, so the radar here in the 7 o'clock hour, the bark is a little worse than the bite in some spots, but we do have a couple of pockets of decent snow rates, one around Interstate 80 in Mercer County. That's always tricky traveling across Interstate 80 in Mercer County whenever it's snowing, so a little bit of slow travel there. We've got a few heavier pockets of snow around Slippery Rock and heading down towards Elwood City as well. Other than that, everything's pretty light, pretty spotty, but still some additional coatings, some localized reductions in visibility. That's going to be a possibility not only this evening, but maybe parts of the overnight as well. We're expecting a downtick in the number of these flurries and snow showers that will be around as we head through the overnight. But lots and lots of people impacted by wintry weather over the next few days. Now, tomorrow's system is going to be a miss for us. It is not missing places like Cincinnati and Louisville and Indianapolis, and eventually heading out towards Charleston, West Virginia as well. This first clipper dives far enough to the south. It's clipper number 2 that will take a little bit farther of a northward track. It's also a little bit of a stronger system, and that's the clipper that will bring us some snow during the second half of the day on Saturday. So enjoy the relative break on Friday. The wind chills will rocket into the 20s. The air temperature is not much better than 30. That's still almost 10 degrees below average, but a better day because the wind won't be too much of a factor. I think we'll actually see a little sunshine on our Friday as well, and you'll see that on our high resolution modeling here. Maybe some clouds around at the start of the day, but I think the sky will turn at least partly sunny for a time during the midday and afternoon, and snow stays well off to our south. Now let's talk about the weekend. A few flurries might sneak in late Friday night into Saturday morning. Our Arctic cold front is actually going to pass through the area before noon on Saturday, so it'll be one of those days where the highest temperature of the day is probably during the first half of the day. We may see falling temperatures in the afternoon. So here comes our second clipper. What we've done with the forecast for Saturday into Saturday night, we've upped the chances of snow. It looks very likely at this point. I think it's likely to start snowing before the afternoon is through in most of the area, and this is going to have a chance to cause some issues, even though it's a clipper, so it's not going to bring us huge amounts of snow or anything. It's going to be a pretty fast mover, but every flake can stick with as cold as it's going to be, and Alberta clipper systems sometimes will overachieve. I've been doing this a while now, and I've seen a lot of Alberta clipper systems overachieve, especially ones that are coming when the air mass that's in place is very cold, because the snow to liquid ratios can be high, and so snow amounts can overachieve a little bit. By the time we get to Sunday morning, the clipper's long gone, and by Sunday morning, lake effect starts to take over. The lakes are still relatively warm, at least compared to the air that's blowing over them, and this will be very cold air blowing over the lakes. So with the kind of powdery, fluffy snow that we can expect Saturday, and then same consistency of the snow with the lake effect on Sunday, I think there'll be some blowing snow, some drifting snow. There may be times in which there's no snow falling from any clouds, but in open areas, snow covers the road, and that's because of the blowing snow with these kinds of winds, and again, that kind of light snow that's very easy to move around. So over the next couple of days, some shovelable snow amounts, certainly as you encounter places such as Cincinnati and Parkersburg and as far north as Columbus. Certainly we're going to miss tomorrow's clipper. We're on the northern fringes a little bit of Saturdays, but still I think it's going to be a far enough north track that accumulating snow is pretty likely. Now here's a look at our computer model spread kind of for the middle of our viewing area. So think the 224 corridor, Youngstown up to Warren, over to Niles, over towards the air base in Vienna. And you could probably throw a lot of southern Mercer County and Lawrence County into this bucket as well. And our computer model spread here is around 2 to 3 inches with our clipper. This doesn't, we're not going to focus too much on the lake effect component of this on Sunday. Let's focus on everything that happens kind of in this box right here, because that's the clipper system on Saturday. So yeah, 3 inches advertised by the modeling for the heart of our viewing area. But then you head off to the south towards East Liverpool, same models, same time frame, and we're going to focus on this box right here. You can see our lines are more tightly clustered together, indicating a higher confidence forecast. They're also a little bit higher, indicating 3 inches is a pretty good bet, and we're not going to be surprised to see 4. And again, with the high ratios with this snow, I'm not going to be surprised if someone tries to get a little bit more than 4. I think the best chance for 5 or more will be closer to Interstate 70 and perhaps south of there, down towards West Virginia, Morgantown, maybe Athens, Ohio, and then heading up towards the higher terrain of the Laurel Highlands, south and east of Pittsburgh. In our TV viewing area, I think a lot of us are going to see at least a fluffy inch out of this. 2 or 3 may be pretty common, and you might get a little more than 3, maybe 4 or so. Once you're down towards Lisbon, Salineville, Highlandtown, East Liverpool, maybe as far north as East Palestine, Rogers, Nagley, all those places in Columbiana County. That's probably the locations you have the best chance of seeing a little more than 3. 5 is probably the top end, of our expectations at this point, but I think it's going to be pretty common to see a fluffy 3 or 4 inches in our southern viewing area, with 1.5 inches to 2 to 2.5 pretty common, kind of in the heart of our viewing area, in the biggest population centers, if you will, in our viewing area. Now, the last couple of snow events, not counting today's, scattered flurries and snow showers, before that, the ratios have been pretty typical, even a little on the wet side. These snow events, 10 to 1, 12 to 1. After all, that's pretty typical. But shoveling it can be no fun. It can be a little goopy. It can be a little wet. Now, I think the ratios with Saturday's snow and the lake effect on Sunday will be quite a bit higher. Our air mass is going to be freezing cold. Teens to around 20 degrees. The snow to liquid ratios probably more like almost 20 to 1, 18 to 1, 20 to 1, maybe even 22 to 1. And so that's the kind of snow that's easy to shovel. You can almost take a broom to it. It's real easy to dust off your car, but it accumulates more efficiently. And so that's what I mean by, sometimes these things can surprise us with the amounts, because the ratios are so high. Now, with the lake effect on Sunday, no surprise that it's our northern viewing area that's a little more favored for road impacts during the daylight hours and even into Sunday night as well. So anyone around and north of Warren, around and north of Niles, around and north of Hubbard, Sharon, Wheatland, I should say, heading over towards Mercer. Once you're up towards the Crawford County line, once you're up towards the Ashtabula County line, that's where the highest impacts, no doubt, will be. But even farther south than that, these lake bands can probably penetrate pretty far to the south at times, so we're not going to be surprised to see changeable conditions around the 224 corridor, around Route 11 down through Columbiana County, Route 30 through Lisbon, and places like that. Even though the totals will probably be lower there with the lake effect on Sunday, there can still occasionally be a rogue lake effect band that causes some issues. Now, here's the graphic I want to show you. Hey, we've got some red on here for a change. I think, it's going to be a little back and forth, but we've got a couple of days that really pop out here towards the tail end of next week. Next Thursday, a week from today, I think we could see 50 or better. There's probably a front that knocks us back into the 30s briefly on Friday. And then in the final weekend before Christmas, it's probably a little back and forth again, but I don't think there's Arctic fronts in the offing during this period. And so while it will turn colder occasionally, it's only back to about average or maybe a little below average. And then I think beyond this 10-day forecast in the last few days of Christmas, I don't see anything cold on the models advertised right now. So not great news if you want some snow on Christmas time. Good news if you are tired of the kind of early season cold that we're dealing with this time around. I mentioned this on Weather Geeks last evening in case you missed it. I think next week, maybe even on Monday, I'll do an update to the winter forecast here now that we're past a month since the original issuance. The biggest thing I'm going to wrestle with is how long does this late December thaw last? Is it going to last pretty deep into January? Is it going to be a fleeting thing, a little bit like last winter? Those are things that I hope to have a better handle on as we head into early next week. So I hope you'll tune into Weather for Weather Geeks probably on Monday evening. We'll talk about the rest of the winter and our expectations. In the meantime, thanks for watching on this Thursday evening. Have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you back here on Friday for an updated weekend forecast and more.